my screen here, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the April market update from the RMLS. They sent out their numbers a little behind, but nonetheless. My name's Tanner Ueland. Again, I'm a real estate broker with Uptown Properties. Had my license for about 6 months now. Got it in about November. So yeah, and I'm also the on-site property manager here at the 72nd Apartments in Tigard, Oregon. So getting going to understand a lot of things about real estate in general and being a broker, it's definitely been a good start to my career. So I'm just going to go over these numbers here real fast at the start and kind of dive deeper into what these mean and what we might expect in the future from these numbers. So we saw in April, we saw 2,847 new listings come onto the market, which is in fact a decrease of almost 33% from April of last year. So this number is also a decrease of about 18% from last month in March, in which we saw 3,468 new listings. Pending sales in April of 2020 was 2% from the 3,102 offers accepted in April of 2019. We also saw a 13% decrease in April from the 2,347 offers accepted last month in March. Average sales price continued to rise as we saw a 5.6% increase from April of 2019 to April of 2020. So it's good to see still that positive number in the average sales price, as well as a 2.6% increase in the average sales price from March to April. So if you look at the last column here, you can see a substantial dip in the total market time, the days on market for these properties. In April of 2020, the average total market time was 44 days, as you can see here. And this was about an 18% decrease from April of 20, and about a percent decrease from March 2020, so last month. So looking at these numbers, we can kind of dive on into them. It's one of the biggest thing, obviously, that we're seeing right now is that we're seeing a pretty substantial dip in new listings as we enter into what is usually the more active time of year for real estate listings. We tend to see an increase in new listings as we enter into the summer months. So from March to April, to see a 18% decrease in new listings is definitely a little bit shocking, because we kind of anticipate that big number as we enter into the summer months, the kind of the most active months in the real estate industry. Better weather tends to increase motivation to move. It's active. But with everything going on, especially with the COVID, people are actually deciding, in my opinion, they're deciding to stay at their current place of residence rather than, being active on the market and looking to move. And this can be attributed, these low, negative percentage numbers can be attributed to the coronavirus, which has kept people in their homes rather than maybe looking for a new home. So it's kind of put people in a tough situation of having to be on the couch rather than touring new homes. Another thing we can kind of attribute these negative numbers to is the cloud of uncertainty that we expect from these sellers with maybe where the real estate market might be headed. A lot of people don't have too much knowledge of real estate. They're sitting back, they're sitting on the sideline waiting to see what happens before they make a move, before they want to decide to list their property. So I think personally, a lot of people have that big cloud of uncertainty that's kind of reigning over them, that they don't want to list in the wrong time or have a bad list price for their home. So another thing that we can take away from this graph or these numbers here is looking at the total market time. So even though we've seen this big decrease in new listings, the total market time has also seen a decrease, which is huge for sellers. You know, you want to list your property, you want to get it off the board as soon as you can. Seeing a decrease in this number, that 44 number, that means homes are hot, and this can be attributed to the decrease in supply of homes, like I was talking about. Less people are listing their homes, but we have a steady supply of buyers, and the demand is still strong. So we're seeing these homes hop off the market much faster. People were more likely to jump at a house that has their needs rather than looking for other house because they know there's not as much homes out there. And due to this shortage of supply and the strong demand that we still have, in my personal opinion, I believe that we might see a slight increase in average home sales price in the short run. So in the next however months, we could be seeing it up as our sales price. So moving on to the next slide here. This is the closed sales graph that we see here. So closed sales in April of 2020 were 2,015, which is a decrease of 16.4% from the closings recorded in April of 2019, and a decrease of 14.5% from the closings recorded in March of last month. So a couple takeaways we can see in this graph. We are the red bar here, so we're the 2020. We're the red bar that hasn't quite made it to the end of the year yet. As you can see, a decrease in new listings coming on the market. You tend to see a decrease in closed sale. They kind of go hand in hand. Less homes on the market, less homes are being sold. Real estate, it tends to see for months. We see the largest amount of inventory and largest amount of closed sales being coming on the market. So as we can see right here, from March to April, we've had a pretty significant dip, and that kind of attributes to that what I was talking about on the previous side with the big hit we've taken on new listings coming as of April 2020. So this is actually a pretty interesting slide that I looked at quite a bit. This graph shows the active residential listings over the past 3 calendar years in the Portland metro area. And the funny thing about this slide is, if we were to just take a look at it from kind of a 10,000 foot view, we would think that nothing's wrong and that everything is on cycle and that we're trending upwards just like the other years. But what this graph lacks is that it lacks the supply that we are currently, the lack of supply that we're currently experiencing, and the drop in closed sales from March to April. So in which we would actually tend to expect to see a significant increase from that March to April. Heading into summer season, we expect that to rise a lot. We've seen a pretty big hit. So heading over to the next slide here, we're looking at the average total market time. And this graph just pretty straightforward, shows average market time in the Portland metro area. As I mentioned in the previous slides, the total market time decreased from 61 to 44 days in April, which was a 28% decrease on average days on market. And as I kind of mentioned before, I touched upon the supply is pretty low right now. This being said, the demand has still held strong, causing these homes to get eaten up fast. Hence why we could very well see a slight increase in average home sales price if these homes are. We don't have many homes on the market, but they're getting eaten up fast. So there's where we're at in April. So here we are with average and median home sales price, and comparing 2019 to 2020, average sales price increased 4.3% from 445,000 to 465,000. Same comparison here with the median sales price. Key takeaways. This graph in the Portland metro area, we're at our highest average sales price that we've ever been at. So obviously that's a pretty significant statement and pretty significant amount of money. So it is a great time to sell your home currently. So yeah, we're currently at an all-time high there. As I was talking about earlier, you can kind of see the real estate cycle work here. You can see it in full as we tend to see an increase in sales price in the early summer months, which is obviously a great time to list if you're looking to get the highest price for your property. So here we're gonna be taking a look at the multifamily statistics. In April 2020, we saw 28 small multifamily properties sold, whereas in March we saw 36. This probably attributes most likely to the decrease in listings for multifamily properties. A couple takeaways I got from these numbers is that we see only 4 FHA loans here for April of 2020. That's not a great amount, and it might attribute to lenders not really, or getting a little more strict on their FHA loans or something of that matter. Average days on market in April have gone up by a good amount, and the average sold price has gone down. This could link to a small sample size that we do have here, though. It's possible. So a couple conclusions and thoughts on the market as we go through this pandemic is, at least in the Portland area, the Portland metro area, supply has taken a pretty big hit. And the question is, will this last throughout the summer months? How long are people waiting before they actually make moves on the market? In my opinion, prices will remain somewhat consistent, maybe slightly increased due to the lack of supply and the strong demand currently. The average days on market will continue to decrease throughout the summer months, start to increase come fall and winter, as we all know. And once counties start opening up again, I'm sure some of you out there might already have, your counties might already be opened up, but here in Washington County, we're not totally opened up yet. So I believe as these counties in the metro area start to open up and COVID kind of starts to blow over, we could see an influx of properties coming onto the market. So those thoughts about the market, and yeah, that's all I have for the market update.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tanner, for sharing the market update for April 2020. Now we're going to send it right into Scott Dallinger with Wholesaling 101. As soon as Tanner stops sharing his screen, Scott will be able to start his presentation here. And I'm super excited for this.